Ben, you have new speakers since I was here last. These are amazing.
New everything, I think.
And yet they seem so familiar to me. Oh, they're Devon speakers.
Yes.
So how did this happen?
Well, it started where it's actually all your fault, because the last time you were here, it started like a chain reaction of events that, it started with the speakers and then and is continuing on with the equipment. It started with just feeling like the smaller speakers that I had last time were not quite cutting it for me. Even though that the room is not that big, I just was looking for a bigger sound. I was interested, the last speakers I had were horn speakers, and I was interested in what they were producing, but they were very directional. And my room is set up in a way where a directional speaker only allows you to sit in one one very small spot. And so I was introduced to Devon right around the same time, and went and checked out his system at his house, and was blown away by the fact that you can move around the room. And he has a similar setup to me, as in along the narrow length of a townhouse, and I was blown away how you can move around the room, and it didn't really affect the directionality of the horn so much, and so we got to talking about why that was, and what he was working on, and I twisted his arm into working with me to make a pair, but I was also asking him to make some minor modifications to fit my aesthetic. We were talking last time that the aesthetic is a big part of who I am and what's important to me, and so I got him to experiment with some finishes. And
so yeah, they sound amazing. These are the multi-cell horns. And two 12-inch woofers?
Yeah, I think these are 12s.
Yeah.
I think the one that he had in his gallery setup were 15s, so they were actually larger than this.
Yeah. And if that's not enough woofing...
Right on cue.
Right on cue.
You should keep that.
Woofing,
Yeah,
woofing, right,
yeah,
woofing.
that's perfect. Senna, come here. Come here. You should put that in there.
I'll see if I can edit that in, yeah. Speaking of woofing, you have not one, but two JL subwoofers.
Yeah, right around the same time.
And is that also a 12, by the way? Or is that...
Those are, they're 12s.
Okay.
Right around the same time, I started by filling in what I felt was missing with the smaller speaker, with the subs, and then I got a little carried away after that. So I think I actually got the subs right first, and I really liked what that was doing to kind of fill things in on the bottom end a little bit for me. And then I thought that the entire soundstage needed to be bigger. And so the two jails are run with their crossover system.
Right.
And I've had many discussions and debates with people about this crossover and whether it's a good thing to use it and run their high pass filter with it, or whether it's better to just run them direct and only use the low pass filter. But to my experience, like I've in my room, and Steve and I were talking about this earlier. In my room, I found that running the high pass filter does something for the system that just makes it sound a little bit better, more balanced to me. But there was a lot of reasons why that could be the case.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things you just got to play with and experiment over time. Now the turntable, wow.
Yeah, the turntable was a collaboration between myself and Chris Hildebrand from Fern & Roby, who has another company that just does manufacturing. And this was something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time, just not necessarily being satisfied with the design of a lot of these systems. And I was in love with my Technics SP10 that I had before, and I really liked the feel of it and the arm that I had on it, and so I decided to design a table with Christopher around the SP10R, which is the the updated model of just the motor itself, and then I borrowed my old tonearm from my SP10, and
So it's the back one, right?
the back, yeah, that's the back one, and that's a Japanese version of the original Technics arm that came with that SP10. And then Christopher and I decided to put a Schroeder.
Schroeder.
Yeah,
Oh, this is
Schroeder
a Schroeder.
arm. Sorry, on this one. I don't know why I have a hard time with that name, but so he's a dealer for Schroeder, and I just like the aesthetic, and from what I had heard and read about his arms, so we did that on this one, but we designed the plinth so that, and the whole thing is made to the dimensions exactly so that any arm that is currently manufactured would fit.
And this is the power supply?
Yeah,
And
that's the power supply.
stock power supply?
Yeah, it's the power supply that comes with the 10R, with the Technics SP10R.
Okay. And then the Phono Preamp or the CH Precision?
Yeah, the Phono, I started with the Phono Preamp first from them, and I was just really liked what I heard coming from that once I put that in, integrated that into the system, and then I later got their line stage. But I'm kind of experimenting. I don't know if it's transitional or what, but I've really lately been into the idea of mixing tube gear with solid state gear, and especially solid state gear that is not overly analytical, but tends to have a little bit of a warmer signature to it by itself. But the control and the ease of the solid state gear and some of the dynamics, I found that when I had so many different tube pieces in a line was getting
It was too tubey.
it was too tubey. And so these are Decware monoblock amplifiers that I custom made the surrounds, the casings for.
Yeah, really beautiful.
I'm an architect, as we had discussed last time, and so I have a lot of friends and that make millwork, and these amp cases were built for me by a friend of mine who I work with a lot.
Yeah, really.
As was the audio cabinet also, who was also custom made for me by friends of mine.
This entire cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. And you have a collection of tubes.
Yeah.
Or it's just art.
I wouldn't call them a collection as much as just all the tubes that I've had, either from my various amps, that I've kept the tubes for, or ones that, the amps were originally shipped with 4 tubes, with 4 of the KT88s. And then I was recommended to, that I would really like the sound of the Golden Lion tubes, and so I got those. But then Steve from Decware had told me to check out these tubes by a company called Fathom. Yeah. And I have to say that, they sounded better than anything else that I had in there, and it was a noticeable difference. So so I've stuck with them. And then I changed the input tubes also to the same line.
Oh wait, we have some digital too, right?
Yeah, the digital gear hasn't really changed much, I don't think. I believe I had the last time you were here, I think I was still using the Chord and the Auralic streamer. Again, I don't listen to a ton of digital stuff, but I do use it to listen to things to see if I like it, and then if it's something that I'm really into, then I usually buy it on vinyl. But I find that the ease of being able to test out a lot of different stuff prevents me from having buyer's remorse on stuff.
That's a good thing.
When I get it on vinyl. My vinyl collection is small compared to most, and I think it's because I'm pretty selective about what I want to be fussy with. if there's a ton of music that I listen to that, I don't necessarily want to be fussy with, and I think that for that stuff, I don't necessarily need to have it on vinyl because I have other ways of playing it, and and I think, I don't know, maybe the next time you come, I'll have my CDs out again, which are in storage, but I have a lot more of those than.
CD is the new LP.
I know. I've heard this.
It's very hip.
I've been reading a lot about CD players, but I'm out of room in my cabinet, so I don't know if I'm allowed to get.
You need a bigger house. You're an architect. Make a new one.
Yeah. I'm working on that. Next video, but new house, same system. Hopefully the same system.
Okay. Well, this is fun.
Yeah,
Thanks,
has been.
Ben.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming back. Thank you.
Bye.